School of Management Studies IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course MMPC-013 Business Law for MBA program. Block 4 Legal and Regulatory Framework for Financing and Investments of Business. Unit 8 Foreign Exchange Management and Related Regulations. Part 1.
After completing this unit, you should be able to understand the term foreign exchange, explain the objectives and background of Foreign Exchange Management Act, that is FEMA, identify the prohibited transactions under the FEMA, describe the process of regulation and management of foreign exchange, distinguish between person resident in India and person non-resident in India, and differentiate between capital account transactions and current transactions. Introduction. This unit is designed to introduce the important regulations related to the foreign exchange management in India. It aims to provide the basic understanding of different concepts under the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 and its related rules and regulations. It would also help the students to have a broad understanding of how foreign exchange is managed in India and what is the regulatory framework which govern the people who deal with foreign exchange. Objectives of FEMA. The Foreign Exchange Management Act, Act number 42 of 1999, has been formulated by the central government to consolidate and amend the law relating to foreign exchange with the objective of facilitating external trade and payments and for promoting the orderly development and maintenance of foreign exchange market in India. Background of FEMA. The Defence of India Act 1939 was temporary yet the first legislative attempt to regulate and control the foreign exchange in India. With an aim to settle the foreign exchange crisis in the country, the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act was first enacted in 1947. However, it was further replaced by the FERA 1957. The immediate predecessor of FEMA was the Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973. It was enacted with an objective to regulate the foreign exchange rather than managing it. FERA aimed to regulate the foreign exchange by preventing the outflow of Indian currency, regulating dealings in foreign exchange and securities by imposing several kinds of restrictions on transactions involving foreign exchange and on persons dealing with foreign exchange. FERA also aimed to only conserve the foreign exchange and regulate the use of it. FERA provided for a number of criminal offences with mens rea and had provision for easy arrest by the Enforcement Directorate even without an arrest warrant. In the light of the economic liberalization policy adopted by the Government of India in 1991-92 and the changing economic and financial landscape in the country, there was a need to modify the foreign exchange regulation also. Hence, with an aim to modify the FERA and adopt more liberal policy and approach towards foreign exchange, the FERA was replaced by the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. The FEMA 1999 was also formulated to encourage and attract more foreign investments in the country. Hence, the regulations related to the foreign investments were also simplified. Many provisions under FERA were liberalized or removed to facilitate foreign exchange. However, few others were still included under the FEMA. The FEMA is more transparent in its approach and implementation than its predecessor. It marks and very clearly identifies those areas and situations which require specific approval by the RBI or the central government for acquiring or holding foreign exchange. The philosophical approach was shifted from that of conservation of foreign exchange to one of facilitating trade and payments as well as developing orderly foreign exchange market. FEMA and overview. The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 provides the legal framework for the proper management and administration of the foreign exchange transactions in the country. The Act came into force from June 1, 2000 and since then has been amended from time to time according to the changing economic policies and objectives of the government. There are approximately 6 rules framed by the central government and 23 regulations notified by the Reserve Bank of India or RBI under the FEMA Act. The Act extends to the whole of India and also applies to all branches, offices and agencies outside India owned or controlled by a person resident in India and also to any contravention thereunder committed outside India by any person to whom this Act applies. The statutory power under this Act empowers the RBI as well as the central government to frame and pass regulations and the rules from time to time which are more consistent with the foreign trade policy of the country. The Act provides for a legislative and regulatory framework for inbound and outbound investments and facilitates trade and business opportunity between India and other countries. FEMA lays down provisions for current account and capital account transactions. The RBI is the regulatory body and plays a controlling role in the management of the foreign exchange. The Act also makes provisions for enforcement, penalties, adjudication and appeal. FEMA, along with the various rules and regulation, applies to different practical aspects of the management of foreign exchange in India. Structure of FEMA. The Act is divided into 7 chapters which are further divided into 49 sections. The scheme of chapters under FEMA comprises of Chapter 1, Preliminary Section 1 and 2. Chapter 2, Regulation and Management of Foreign Exchange Section 3 to 9. Chapter 3, Authorized Person Section 10 to 12. Chapter 4, Contravention and Penalties Section 13 to 15. Chapter 5, Adjudication and Appeal, Section 16 to 35. Chapter 6, Directorate of Enforcement, Section 36 to 38. And Chapter 7, Miscellaneous, from Section 39 to 49. It also includes Number 1. Rules made by Ministry of Finance under Section 46 of FEMA, that is, subordinate or delegated legislations. Number 2. Regulations made by RBI under Section 47 of FEMA, that is, subordinate or delegated legislations. Number 3. Master direction issued by RBI every year. Number 4. Foreign direct investment policy issued by the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, that is DPIIT. And number 5, notifications and circulars issued by Reserve Bank of India. Rules made under FEMA. Number 1, FEM, that is Encashment of Draft, Check, Instrument and Payment of Interest Rules 2000. Number 2, FEM, that is Authentication of Documents Rules 2000. Number 3, FEM, that is Current Account Transaction Rules 2000. Number 4, FEM, that is Adjudication Proceedings and Appeal Rules 2000. Number 5, FEM, that is Compounding Proceeding Rules 2000. And number 6, the Appellate Tribunal for Foreign Exchange, that is Recruitment, Salary and Allowances and Other Conditions of Service of Chairperson and Members Rules 2000. Regulations made under FEMA. Number 1, FEM, that is Acquisition and Transfer of Immovable Property Outside India Regulations 2015. Number 2, FEM, Borrowing and Lending in Rupees Regulations 2000. Number 3, FEM, Borrowing or Lending in Foreign Exchange Regulations 2000. Number 4, FEM, Deposit Regulations 2016. Number 5, FEM, Export and Import of Currency Regulations 2015. Number 6, FEM, Guarantees Regulations 2000. Number 7, FEM, Acquisition and Transfer of Immovable Property in India Regulations 2000. Number 8, FEM, Establishment in India of branch office or a project office or any other place of business Regulations 2016. Number 9, FEM, Export of Goods and Services Regulations 2015. Number 10, FEM, Foreign Currency Accounts by a Person Resident in India Regulations 2015. Number 11, FEM, Insurance Regulations 2015. Number 12, FEM, Investment in Firm or Proprietary Concern in India Regulations 2000. Number 13, FEM, Manner of Receipt and Payment Regulations 2016. Number 14, FEM, Permissible Capital Account Transactions Regulations 2000. Number 15, FEM, Possession and Retention of Foreign Currency Regulations 2015. Number 16, FEM, Realization, Repatriation and Surrender of Foreign Exchange Regulations 2015. Number 17, FEM, Remittance of Assets Regulations 2016. Number 18, FEM, Transfer or Issue of Security by a Person Resident Outside India Regulations 2017. Number 19, FEM, Foreign Exchange Derivative Contracts Regulations 2000. Number 20, FEM, Transfer or Issue of Any Foreign Security Regulations 2004. Number 21, FEM, Crystallization of Inoperative Foreign Currency Deposits Regulations 2014. Number 22, FEM, Transfer or Issue of Any Foreign Security Regulations 2004. Number 23, FEM, International Financial Services Center Regulations 2015. And number 24, FEM, Regularization of Assets Held Abroad by a Person Resident in India Regulations 2015. Important definitions and concepts. Persons resident in India means a person residing in India for more than 182 days during the course of the preceding financial year, but does not include a person who has gone out of India or who stays outside India in either case. That is, number 1, for or on taking up employment outside India, or number 2, for carrying on outside India a business or vocation outside India, or number 3, for any other purpose in such circumstances as would indicate his intention to stay outside India for an uncertain period. Another important point is a person who has come to or stays in India in either case otherwise than number 1, for or on taking up employment in India, or number 2, for carrying on in India a business or vocation in India, or number 3, for any other purpose in such circumstances as would indicate his intention to stay in India for an uncertain period. Apart from this, persons resident in India also means any person or body corporate registered or incorporated in India, an office, branch or agency in India owned or controlled by a person resident outside India, and an office, branch or agency outside India owned or controlled by a person resident in India. Person resident outside India means a person who is not resident in India. For example, Mr. X landed in India on 1st August 2019 to take up employment. For the financial year 2018-19, he was not in India. So, for the financial year 2018-19, he is not a resident of India. For the financial year 2019-20, he was in India for more than 182 days. So, for the financial year 2019-20, he is a resident of India. Authorized persons. It means an authorized dealer, money changer, offshore banking unit, or any other person who is authorized to deal in foreign exchange or foreign securities. Capital account transaction. It means a transaction which alters the assets or liabilities, including contingent liabilities outside India of persons resident in India, or assets or liabilities in India of persons resident outside India, and includes transactions referred to in subsection 3 of section 6 of the Act. Current account transaction. It means a transaction other than a capital account transaction and without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing. Such transaction includes: number 1, payments due in connection with foreign trade, other current business, services, and short-term banking and credit facilities in the ordinary course of business. Number 2, payments due as interest on loans and as net income from investments. Number 3, remittances for living expenses of parents, spouse, and children residing abroad. And number 4, expenses in connection with foreign travel, education, and medical care of parents, spouse, and children. Foreign currency means any currency other than Indian currency. Foreign exchange means foreign currency and includes: number 1, deposits, credits, and balances payable in any foreign currency. Number 2, drafts, travelers' checks, letters of credit or bills of exchange expressed or drawn in Indian currency but payable in any foreign currency. And number 3, drafts, travelers' checks, letters of credit or bills of exchange drawn by banks, institutions, or persons outside India but payable in Indian currency. Regulation and management of foreign exchange. Chapter 2 of the FEMA Act 1999 provides for the provisions related to the regulation and management of foreign exchange in India. There can be no dealing in foreign exchange without the general or special permission of the Reserve Bank of India. The Act also does not empower the RBI or any other person to directly handle the foreign exchange. For this, the RBI can authorize the authorized persons and issue directions to such authorized persons from time to time, other than the ordinary or special permission of the RBI under the Act, or other than the manner provided under the Act. Its rules or regulations, no person is allowed to: Number 1. Deal in or transfer any foreign exchange or foreign security to any person not being an authorized person. Number 2. Make any payment to or for the credit of any person resident outside India in any manner. Number 3. Receive otherwise through an authorized person any payment by order or on behalf of any person resident outside India in any manner. And number 4. Enter into any financial transaction in India as consideration for or in association with acquisition or creation or transfer of a right to acquire any asset outside India by any person. A financial transaction means making any payment to or for the credit of any person or receiving any payment for, by order or on behalf of any person. Financial transaction also includes drawing, issuing or negotiating any bill of exchange or promissory note, or transferring any security or acknowledging any debt. There is a blanket prohibition on a person resident in India to acquire, hold, own, possess, or transfer any foreign exchange, foreign security, or any immovable property situated outside India, except as permitted under the Act, rules, or regulations thereunder. Types of transactions under FEMA. The Act recognizes two types of transactions. They are capital account transactions and current account transactions. Each type of the transaction is governed by a relevant regulation. Let us discuss them in detail.
We were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code MMPC-013 Business Law. Course Coordinator Professor K. Ravi Shankar. Voiceover by Harpreet Kaur. Edited by Savita Rana. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan and Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.